You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Representative Carol Ammons from Champaign County over in Urbana. Thank you so much for joining us, Representative.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to have you on today because you have a bill here in the Capitol that would make it would take a step forward for elections as far as vote by mail ballots are concerned. It's an election year. Figured why not? I wanted to discuss this it's a pretty ambitious idea with Illinois kind of stepping in line with some of the other states that have gone to more universal vote by mail processes. So your bill would basically allow counties to decide if they wanted to choose to proactively send out ballots to registered voters, the voters on the roll call. Why do you think that this should be an option for counties in the state?
Yeah, I visited actually Colorado, and I visited California and Georgia, several other states, and looking at their vote by mail process, what became extraordinarily clear is that people participate at a significantly higher level when they just simply get a ballot in the mail. They return it at 80 to 90% from all the other 8 states that already have vote by mail as an option. And so if we want to increase access, if we want to increase access in consolidated elections where smaller elections take place, we saw that and it's statistically demonstrated that vote by mail access will do that.
The part that really stood out to me about this was back in 2020 when we had the election, the pandemic, or the 2022 had this as well,
Yes.
but a big increase in vote by mail, but 2020 specifically had that proactive sending of vote by mail applications to the registered voters. That was a big policy that was passed here in the Capitol. It was that one-time deal for that. And we did see a lot of vote by mail increase in that election. This goes a step further. This would be the ballot sent to the registered voter roll.
The eligible voter will receive a ballot in the mail.
So why?
Without having to request it. That's an important point.
Without having to request the ballot. So why is that so important? Why is that a vital step when we saw maybe a scaled down version of that with the actual application sent out have some success in 2020?
Well, success in 2020 is the reason why I have this bill today. What we saw is 30,000 people voted by mail, and people began to call regularly to their clerk's offices trying to figure out a safer way to vote. It has been proven by way of COVID in 2020, we saw that in 22, that vote by mail is the easiest and safest way, and frankly, it saves money ultimately in the jurisdictions that have all vote by mail access. What we want to do here is allow our county clerks to opt in to send to their eligible voters in their counties a ballot automatically, which will save them from what we saw in the return of applications. When you have to send out 120,000 applications hoping that people will sign up and only get 1% of them back, you have wasted significant taxpayer dollars. What we have seen in Utah, California, Colorado, and Washington, D.C. now is that when they send that ballot out, instead of it not coming back, it actually comes back at a higher rate.
With your bill, would this allow for counties to opt in for the coming election, or would this be further down the line for future
They
elections?
can opt in into the November election. It would not be available if they so choose to do that for the primary. It wouldn't work there. But in November going forward, from November to your consolidated elections, it would be an option for every election if they so choose.
So this would be a pretty drastic change if people were just able to get their ballots in the mail.
I don't think it's drastic.
Well, I guess the part I'm trying to address here is there is a process. If you get the ballot in the mail, there is a process you have to go through to maybe if you decide, oh, I got this ballot in the mail, but maybe I do want to go in person. Maybe I want to get my sticker or something.
You will get it in a vote by mail too. But
okay, all right. Well,
you still get a sticker.
So, but maybe they decide, you know what, I'd rather go in person. There's a process they have to follow to discard that ballot. And
they don't discard the ballot. So there's 2 things, and one of the things we didn't do, Colorado did. Colorado, who testified at our subject matter hearing about a week or so ago, they said we don't send anybody through any changes if they so choose to come inside and vote in person. We just will, as long as they have not voted once, we will allow them to vote. And even if they sent back what they thought they didn't do, a vote by mail, it gets discarded by the clerk's office. Or 2, you can simply take your vote by mail in that you received in the mail and say, I'm in Brookings. I say, you know what, I'm in Brookings, I might as well vote while I'm here. I can just return that to the clerk's office. They'll give me another ballot in place of it. They'll take that one, discard it, and I'll I'll enter my own into the tabulator in person. So in person is always going to still be an option.
Would a longer on-ramp for this, though, be helpful when we're talking about a process? Vote by mail it's existed for quite a long time.
Long time. It's called absentee voting.
It's become more popular, as we've already addressed, and people are learning all of the rules around it that have existed before. But for something like this, would a greater ramp for educational purposes, being able to help people understand the vote by mail process even further, help when making these kinds of changes where a county would be proactively sending ballots to people?
What was interesting is the election commissioner, and I can't recall his name, who spoke during the subject matter hearing from Cook County's commission. He said when we opened up, meaning they sent the electronic applications out, when they did that, the amount of interest was through the roof. They had so many people that they expect 300,000 people to vote by mail in the coming election. So that told them that if we provided this in a greater way, more voters would find it to be more helpful for them. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to find your polling location. You don't have to do any of that. You just simply complete the ballot and return it to the clerk's office or the commission's office, wherever you are. In this case, it would be exactly the same. The clerk who decides that they want to go to an all vote by mail process for any particular future election, they will have to, and they already do, include instructions and information in their vote by mail packet. So a voter would not just get a ballot, they would get instructions, they would get how do you return it, they would get all of those instructions like they currently do from the election authority.
All right, well, Representative Carol Ammons, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. When we come back, we take a look at the Governor Pritzker administration's latest decision on care hours for the developmentally disabled in Illinois. We'll be right back.